Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. I'm in the Tony Awards suite at the Sofitel NYC, which is the official hotel of the 2019 Tony Awards, and I'm sitting with two of this year's nominees from the groundbreaking new production of Oklahoma, Best Director Daniel Fish and Best Featured Actress in a Musical, Mary Testa. Congratulations on this beautiful production of Oklahoma and all the Tony nominations you have received and all the accolades. Just tell me, what's made this so special for the two of you?
Her.
Her.
No, the cast and
Yeah.
and the fact that a lot of us have been doing it now for like 5 years. And Daniel.
Yeah, and I'm so proud of the work that everybody's doing. That Mary's doing, that Rebecca and Naomi Jones is doing, that Damon Dono and Patrick Vale and Gabby Hamilton, everybody in it, and they're holding it up every night in an awesome way.
We really we're really very supportive of each other, and because it's such an ensemble piece, it's just a joy to work with people that you trust and that you think are great, and it's just wonderful.
Take me back to the beginning, Daniel. How did Oklahoma come about for you to direct and why you wanted to direct it?
It's a good question. I don't really know the answer, to tell you the truth. I mean, in 2006, Joanne Akalitis was running the theater program at Bard College, and she said, come make a show with my students here. And I said, I'm going to do Oklahoma. And I hadn't really thought a lot about it. I thought I knew the show. I had the songs in my head from when I was a kid. I saw the 79 revival. But I didn't know a lot more. I didn't know why I even said that then. But Joanne, being Joanne, said, yes, come. And then I started to work on it with these students, and I realized there was a much more layered and complicated show here than I knew was there. And this piece that I thought I knew very well, I didn't know at all. And so began this very long process of working on it and digging into it and finding out what was really there. And now here we are all these years later.
Now, Mary, this is your first Oklahoma, right?
This is my first Oklahoma. Yes, and probably my last Oklahoma.
I'll see you out.
Yeah. But and people very often ask me, like, well, how is your Ann Eller different from other productions? And I say, well, I don't really know because I've never really seen a production of Oklahoma. Yeah. So I just go by trying to make sense of the text, trying to find the truth in everything. And there's also a great deal of humor in it and darkness, which I love. That's my favorite thing to do, is be funny and then sock you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which she does every night.
Which I try to do every night.
You do every night.
Yeah.
But you looked at this as a new play when you worked on this, Daniel, right? Sort of when you start working?
Yeah, I think I always do. I mean, I think, the thing that we can't change about the theater is that it's always new. It's always happening on the night it's happening with the audience that's there. So that just is like fundamental to the process. So I tried not to make a lot of assumptions about how we were going to do it. I did listen to a lot of other recordings of it, everything from the original Broadway to the film soundtrack to the 79 to the 99 production. So I had an idea about how the songs have been sung, but I didn't look at a lot of other stuff, and I tried not to, once I was in the room with it, think at all about that, and just try to really respond to what's in the room and try to make something that moved me and that interests me, in the hope that if it does that, it'll do that for other people.
Yeah. Mary, when you first got involved, like, how were you, like, sold on this? Or what went
Daniel
through?
called me
Yeah.
and said, I'm going to do we're going to work at New York Theater Workshop, and we're just going to work around the table for a week at Oklahoma. Was it a week or 2 weeks?
Like a week.
Yeah, a week. And I was like, and I had done a reading with Daniel. He had to remind me because I forgot, just because there's so much stuff that goes on.
I think I actually called you to offer you the part.
You did.
We're gonna
No,
do
you
a
did.
workshop,
You did.
yeah.
But I was like, Daniel, how do I know you? And he was like, we did a reading of Polly Penn's.
Polly Penn's piece about Kulthum.
Kulthum, right? Yes. And so we worked for a week on that or something. And I was like, oh, cool. But I have to tell the story because when I talked to you on the phone, I was doing a reading with Sally Struthers. I've told this story before because it's cute. And Sally hadn't, I don't know, I taped some award show, which is very unlike me, but I taped something and Sally hadn't seen it. So I said, come down, I'll make you dinner and you can watch it. So Sally was in. So when he called me, I had to go in my bedroom because the television was on. I was talking to him. I go, Sally Struthers is having dinner, and so we talked for about like 5 minutes. Then he went, Sally Struthers is in your living room, which was fun.
Grew up watching her in All in the
Yeah,
Family,
exactly.
so you know.
Yeah.
When the tour of Oklahoma goes out, I see a new Aunt Eller with Sally Struthers, right?
She could do it.
Yeah.
She'd be hilarious. She's a cornball. She
Oh, yeah,
would
totally.
Yeah, she'd totally lay into all the humor. Yeah. She's a cornball.
Let's just talk about like Aunt Eller. I know you couldn't compare to anybody.
You have to say Aunt Eller.
Aunt Eller.
I know. I'm an
What is
aunt
it, aunt?
person. It's Aunt Eller.
It's Aunt Eller. 'Cause I used to say that my aunt. You say
Because-
we're not aunts, we're aunts.
No, I know,
Right?
but
Yeah.
I'm East Coast girl, and we all say aunt here,
Yeah.
so it took a while. Yeah.
Well, I've only learned that because I was brought up on Long Island. I always call them aunts. So,
Oh, you did?
Aunt Eller.
Yeah, it's Aunt Eller. Yeah.
All right. What do you love about her? I mean, such a fascinating role to play.
Yeah, I love that she is, and I've said this in a million different interviews, so you have to excuse me, but I like that she's flawed. I like that she's flawed. She's trying, as in life, everybody just tries to do the best they can do, and very often people make the wrong decisions because they're just trying to do the best they can do, and you know what I mean. And so I think Eller is interesting because she's protective, she's matriarchal, she's no nonsense, but she also thinks she's doing the right thing, and I think some of her decision is not really the right thing
Yeah.
at the end. It's racist, really, basically. But she's doing the best she can do, which I like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
When you went back to the text, there's so many things that I never saw before in the musical until I saw this production of like the sense of community and how community can just make a decision to shut somebody out, which I never saw before.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
George Wolfe came to the show on Sunday. I
Yeah.
told you this, and he said a great thing because George is smart.
Yeah.
And he said it's so interesting because democracy is only for the people who can afford to have it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I thought, yep, that's absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
You know.
And so, yeah, I saw there was this story about the need for a community to create an outsider in order to define itself and in order to embolden itself, and that person could be anybody. There's that great Shirley Jackson short story. Do you know what the lottery?
Yeah.
Where the town meets once a year to pick someone who they're going to kill, and there's something about the lengths the community will go to protect itself, and that everybody's vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that are going on in this musical that you didn't see before.
And it's all in there.
Yeah.
It's in
Ted
there.
Chapin has said
Yeah.
publicly that a lot of productions just kind of gloss over the script just to get to the production numbers because
Yeah.
the music is so great and the numbers, and they do it in a conventional way where there are production numbers on all of these songs. And this doesn't do that. You know what I mean? We take our time with the script. We try and really find the truth in every moment of the script,
So what were rehearsals like? Who wants to take that?
You want to take that?
I always had a really good time.
Yeah.
He's fantastic because he's particular. He's incredibly creative and artistic. He makes me laugh because he gets really frustrated sometimes, and I think it's hilarious, right? But he's also fun and funny and creates a nice atmosphere in the room, you know what I mean? So all of these people working together, it's a joy to put something together when you're laughing and having a good time, but also really sort of digging in,
Yeah.
and that's what the room is like.
Yeah, and this one can't lie.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, it's
I
amazing.
Say what's on everybody's. I'm the type of person that says what everybody's thinking.
Yeah, but not only that, but that you will find the truth in whatever
Yeah.
you're doing, and it will be different all the time, and it's always going to be honest.
That's
And
right.
you
I
know,
try to
and
do that
and
Yeah.
I feel like you're incapable of not doing that.
Yeah, I feel like the older I'm getting, the simpler things are getting, and the quieter things are getting, and the more true things are getting. I mean, come on, why not?
Yeah. What did you enjoy the most, Daniel, working in the rehearsal room on Oklahoma? Because you've done a lot of different shows. What have you enjoyed the
Oh
most?
gosh, I mean, it was just a great privilege to be in that room every day with these people and to be digging into the material and to be, and particularly I think when we had the couple of weeks that we had to do it at Circle,
Yeah.
we all knew the show well. We kind of knew that we had it. So I think it gave everybody a little bit of freedom to sort of sit back a little bit and go deeper.
Yeah, totally. Things are different than they were at St. Anne's.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are different. I found different things. I mean, you find different things every night because that's live theater, basically. And you try not to. Everybody I know who's a performer tries not to be on autopilot and really just tries to be honest and truthful and, you know, in every performance, no matter what it is.
And I think this is a show where like you really can't be on autopilot.
Yeah.
I
No,
mean, there's
you
no
cannot.
you're sunk if you do.
It's one of the things that makes it so exhausting. You have to be in it every single minute. Like there's no, okay, I'm not talking. I'm sitting in the back. Let me just sit. You have to be in it, involved every second.
See, that's what I loved about this production also. Was it always your idea to do it the way the show was presented, with just them on stage, with the audience around everybody?
It was always the idea that the audience would be present and
Yeah.
part of it. But I think the audience is always present. It's just the nature of that. So, and we've done it in different kinds of spaces with the
Yeah.
audience on 3 sides, 4 sides, 2 sides. So it's always been a thing where we want the audience to. We're asking them to be alert. We're asking them to be present with us for the nearly 3 hours that the show
Yeah.
is, and
And not eat.
Well, we were talking about this. I
not
was gonna
talk
ask
on their
you-
phones.
Yeah, because the audience is a part of it. We're there with you in this. We're these other characters that are sitting there observing and watching you all. What's it like having the audience? We started to talk about this. Having them with you, it's totally lit. We're all there together.
It's wonderful when they're in it.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like I keep repeating the same phrases for interviews, but it's so wonderful when they're in it. But
Yeah.
when they're eating and opening bags and looking at their cell phones and getting up to go to the bathroom. I understand people have to go to the bathroom, but it's just such a distraction. It's especially in this show, it's very difficult to have somebody eating pretzels. When you're
Through their playbill.
Yeah.
flipping through their playbill, which people do.
Yeah.
That is very hard to keep in it when that happens. But when the audience is totally with us and dead silent, like at the end, in the end scene, the sort of judgment scene.
Yeah.
When they are silent, there's nothing better. It's so exciting when you could hear a pin drop.
Because mostly all the audiences are involved in this. There's always those few little scattered people. But that's the great thing. Like the smokehouse scene, the day I was there, of course, sitting in the dark, the audience was so silent, just listening to what was going to happen in that scene. And you could actually picture it in your head just by listening to the guys. So I thought it was
Exactly. But then there was a lady one night, and I hope she's watching, who put her cell phone on and held it over her head and told the ushers later, "I'm scared of the dark, so I had to do that."
But you pushed a button to it. No, but yeah.
Look, I think we sometimes underestimate an audience. I think
Oh,
people
yeah.
go to the theater.
I don't underestimate somebody who turns their cell phone on.
But like I think sometimes we're so afraid of how they're going to respond.
Yeah.
We want to give them all these warnings. We want to make sure they're okay. Damn it, people go to the theater to see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't want to be told what's going to happen. I don't need to know. I want to go and what's behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but you can do that quietly.
I agree.
But he was brought up in the theater.
Yes, this is true. This is true.
I love the sound of the show. What was your decision with bringing Daniel Kluger in and doing 7 pieces?
7 pieces.
Yeah. What was the idea?
The idea was to kind of strip it down.
Yeah.
To use to reference a lot of American music, country music, bluegrass, folk, and Dan's a brilliant orchestrator. I'd worked with him as a sound designer before.
Yeah.
And I really, it's interesting when I had lunch with Bruce Pomahawk across the street.
Yeah.
Bruce used to be the director of music at R&H, and at that time we hadn't hired someone to do the orchestration yet. And I said to Bruce, what kind of person should I get? Should I get someone with a lot of Broadway experience? And Bruce said, no, you need to get someone you trust, someone who you can work with, and someone who's going to understand your sensibility. And I said, okay, well, then that's Dan. And that's really how the decision got made. And fortunately, Dan wanted to do it, and he did just a brilliant job. In terms of the sound, the other person who really was influential there was Drew Levy, the sound designer. We worked very hard to make the show sound acoustic, but also be heard. And that's a constant, like we're always riding a line. between, we want the audience to lean in a little bit. We're not going to do all the work for them, and it's not going to be blasted out at you, except when we want it to be blasted out at you.
The other thing is you're opening this up for a lot of young people who might not have gone to the theater a lot and wanted to see something like new and exciting. I mean, how exciting is that for you? I mean, your audience is so diversified at Oklahoma. It's so wonderful. You have people who were brought up maybe on the film or on another production, or are coming back and bringing their grandkids, or just young people who are experiencing theater for the first time. How exciting that is for both of you.
It's great. I love seeing young people in the audience. And there was a moment when we were thinking, we have to sort of put an age limit on it because of the scenes in the dark and because of the violence. And we tried that at St. Anne's, and people still kept coming. They kept bringing their kids who were under 12. They were bringing 8-year-olds, 5-year-olds, like really young kids. And at a certain point, I said, you know what? Who are we to say you can't do this? Let's let them in. And I find that those audiences, I was at the show a couple of weeks ago, and there were two, they must have been 6, 7-year-old girls right in the front, and they're and you just watch watch their faces and watch the thing unfold, through them.
Then there's the cast, so beautifully cast. I know some might. How did you cast this? Was it hard to cast?
It was hard to cast. I mean, fortunately, about half the cast did it at Bard in 2015, and then we got a lot of new people joined us for St. Anne's, and the challenge was I was looking for people who could sing the score and be a human being and be real. And I found lots of people who could do one of those things, but it was hard to find the right group who could do really both of those, and I did, and I feel very grateful for that.
Working with this company for you, Mary, because you've done a lot of shows. I mean, you all seem this like it's the perfect ensemble, this show too.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's really lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, it's great to work with people that, you trust and are excellent. And I only want to work with the great people. You know what I mean? I find that the higher the bar is set, the better it is. And all of these people are wonderful. I mean, they're in various stages of their careers. There's a number of people who are making their Broadway debuts doing this, and so it's exciting and wonderful. And it's great.
That must be so great to see so many Broadway debuts
Yes.
in your show,
Yeah, there's
right?
lots.
There's lots.
Daniel.
Yeah, I was going to say, I said at your opening night, was it what you thought it was going to be? I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah, well,
Broadway
that
debuts.
night's crazy. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
kinda, but it's awesome. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah.
It really is.
I,
And you know what else is wonderful? Like the community of all of this.
Yeah.
So everybody that's nominated in my character is a friend of mine.
yeah.
So, and they're all young, but they're all, you know what I mean? And the community of all of this theater, because it's all about.
True. I found the number of directors who've been on Broadway who reached out to me just as I was starting the process and said, hey, call me anytime. This is what it's going to be like. This is what to watch out for. Call me, Lee Silverman called me up and was like, call me at 2 a.m, it's fine. Yeah. And that level of support and camaraderie among the directing community has been really great.
That's what the theater is.
Yeah.
My strap is showing.
You look gorgeous.
Yeah, whatever.
No, but there's nothing like the theater community
No.
in New York, because
Everybody.
Yeah.
We all know each other. We all see each other. We may not see each other for 10 years. We may work together. You might not see that person for another 15. But everybody sort of knows everybody. And I find it's not a competition. It's just a lovely community of people creating stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's great.
Well, everybody in this business likes to mentor people too. When you were first starting out, was there a mentor that sort of put you on the track or something?
It was Bob Moss at Playwrights Horizon.
Really?
We did In Trousers there, and he took a shine. Well, he took a shine to all of us, but he tried to find, apparently, I found this out after, he tried to find something for me to do. I don't think they were successful, but then I did Lucky Stiff there.
Yeah.
So it was Bob who was my first really supportive person.
Yeah.
And he started Playwrights Horizons,
Yeah.
when 42nd Street was like a pit.
Well, it was 42nd Street.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Playwrights Horizons was scary at that time because that whole street was scary.
Yeah.
So I have to say it was Bob.
All right. Now, for you, Daniel, was it a lot of people at Northwestern, Frank Galati and Lee? Was it Roloff?
Lee Roloff.
Yeah. Those were too early on for you, weren't they?
Yes, they were both great professors of mine. Frank is a directing teacher, and Lee Roloff was a poet and Jungian analyst who taught performance. And then Michael Kahn at the Shakespeare Theater, who I worked with for a number of years after that.
That must have been really exciting.
That was
to
sort of
work
my
with Michael.
that was sort of my grad school working for Michael.
Yeah. You know, you bring your A game. You know, you bring everybody you've worked with before. As you know, when I was watching Oklahoma, I was thinking about the first time I saw you on stage, or the fifth time I saw you on stage, seeing some of the other stuff you've done before you got to Broadway.
What was the first thing you saw me do?
Was it the Rink?
Yeah.
Marilyn. Marilyn was first?
Marilyn was first. Yeah.
All right, Marilyn, yeah.
Oh my God.
But it's funny.
1983.
Minskoff Theater.
I didn't see the Rink. I wish I had.
No, but that was, but you know, but it's so wonderful, you know, that you do what you do, and your amalgamations of people that you've worked with and learned from and everything else, with, you know, like Joanne and Lee and Frank and everything you've done. If you can sum up the best part of the experience of working on Oklahoma, which is so stunning, what's it for each of you?
Oh gosh.
It's a big question.
I don't even know how to answer that.
Yeah.
You know, like it's so. You know, going every night, going to see the show and liking it, and liking the work that I'm seeing up there, and seeing audiences respond, and seeing the show seeing that the show can maintain that over the course of so far, however many weeks we've been running. I think that's been awesome. So,
Mary, for you.
For me, and I've said this before, Oklahoma has made me a better actor.
Yeah.
Just the way this set up, the amount of backstory I had to create that nobody knows except, you know, unless they can pick something up in my eyes or pick something up in my dealings. The fact that I have to listen every night, I have to listen like I've never heard any of these things before. It has totally made me a better actor. I'm very grateful for it.
That is great.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for stopping here today.
I have to say, my mic work is pretty good.
You're
mic
really
work's
good.
awesome.
I
You're
see
like,
another
I'm glad-
career for you.
Because look,
You're good. It's very smooth. You know, I adore you.
thank you, Richie. You're always so wonderful. I always enjoy being interviewed by you because you're lovely. Thank you.
Well, you make magic.
There's a laugh in the neighborhood she will find.
Well,
She is the best.
oh well,
There's
that's
Mary
very
Testa
sweet.
and there's everybody else.
Let me
Seriously.
tell ya,
No, but you
I'm
know
riding
that.
a high. I'm having like a.
I was over on 50th and 10th the other day, and I said, "Mary, what are you doing over here? Our theater's way over on 8th Avenue." She said, "I heard there's a joke over here, and I gotta get here before Lane does."